Hello, everybody. Welcome to Technically Trek episode 53. Yay, we are just trucking right along. I am your host, Dave Prime, and d- over there,
Wrong way.
my Captain Katie, our ditzy witch for the evening. How's it going today, my dear?
I'm alive and I made it through all of last week and the weekend without stabbing somebody with a fork. Again.
That's a positive thing.
It is, but no, honestly, I'm not doing too bad. The usual, you know, hate humanity, bitch about it all the time. Other than
Yes.
that, I'm absolutely groovy. How are you, darling?
Well, it was an interesting week for me because yesterday I locked myself out of my apartment because we changed the door codes, and of course, the one thing I forgot was my cell phone, which had the door codes on it. So I'm like, crap. It took 2 hours for one of the other residents to come back to help me out, only to find out that he accidentally left his phone in the car from the ride he got. It it just went downhill from there. And it
Oh
just
dear.
finally got to the point when I went to my AA meeting. One of the one of the fellows there wanted to talk to me about something, but said I appeared overwrought. So she just like stayed away from me, which I'm just like, yeah, I was a mess.
You wasn't
And
bad enough to like be doing this, was you? Or
not
anything like
quite.
that.
Almost drank again. This is non-alcoholic Romulan ale.
That is very good. I finished my usual anti-homicide juice. So I'm stuck with the fizzy variety of anti-homicide juice tonight. Um, but yeah, so and I'm
Yeah.
sure that when Tyson arrives, I'm sure he'll have his usual cause light.
Well, he's backstage right now, so yep, he's got his Coors Light.
How did I know? I know you too well, darling.
But yeah, so our time is limited as always. I have my
Yeah.
commitment in 2 hours, so we're gonna cram through this episode. Body and Soul, one of the highlights from season 7 of Voyager, where yeah, it's like a modern little twist on the body swap Freaky Friday, which I don't know if you saw they're doing a sequel to Freaky Friday, Freakier Friday, with I think it was Lindsay Lohan and Jimmy Lee Curtis. I love Jimmy Lee.
Mhm. I love
She's an
Jamie Lee
incredible actress.
Curtis. I'm not too keen on Lindsay Lohan though. Sorry, not a Lindsay fan.
That's fine.
But it. I was never really into Freaky Friday. It was just one of those things. But I really do like this episode of Voyager. It is so funny. I'm sorry, but I like the cackle was much in some places when I was watching this tonight. And a fun fact for anybody who watched last week's episode, was it last week's episode, Invasive
Mhm.
Procedure?
Yeah,
Yeah.
invasive procedures.
Um, yeah, the actress who played Mariel in that episode is also in this episode.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, very interesting how things have worked out for the episode selection.
it was just total freak accident. Didn't even realize it. And reading on that, not only did she play Mariel in DS9, she played Faith. I had her last name written down. Faith Garland in the Deep Space Nine episode "Little Green Men." So I didn't even realize. I didn't even
Yeah,
connect that. It's just like wow. But
yeah,
now
and
just thinking about it, hearing how Jaren talked and how Faith talks, like, yeah, that's the freaking same actress.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, people don't like watching things with me because I will see someone in something and I'll just be like, oh, I know them. Where do I know them from? I mean, I was watching Lord of the Rings with a friend of mine, and like very recently, and one of the elves came on, and I went, I know him. Why do I know him?
Mhm.
And then it took me like completely forever to figure out who it was, and it was Craig Parker, and I'm just like, no wonder I know him. And it was just like I do that all the time, and people hate me for it. I
Yeah.
don't care.
It just you're just more well-rounded than the average individual with obscure
Well,
knowledge. But talking about
Well,
obscure, before we got a couple people backstage, the Lakiran uniforms that used in this episode, Jonathan Frakes actually used these uniforms for a pilot that he shot back in 2000, Star Patrol. I'm thinking
oh,
that didn't happen, but I just like, interesting. I'll have to look that pilot up if it's available somewhere.
yeah, I've never heard of it.
I think I might have
But
heard of it, but it's
that's
been
very interesting.
2000. That's 25 years ago, so that's been a hot minute.
Oh yeah, that was around about the time I started getting into like binge watching things,
Hmm.
and
It
then
said,
I missed a lot of things because of that.
yeah, but it said TV pilot, so it probably didn't
Ah,
get
yeah, it
picked
probably
up.
didn't get aired
So,
anyway.
but yeah, we got Tyson and Travis backstage. Hi guys.
Yay!
Oh,
Mwah!
Travis is all blinged out tonight. Tyson's got the Technically Trek logo that he designed in the background. So, welcome guys. How's it going?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yes,
Hold on a second.
everything is going okay.
I'm not going to be outdone.
Oh, now I just have to get that. Now I just have to get a com badge. I have to get a com badge now. Oh,
Yeah,
that's not fair.
there we
Let's see what.
go.
Yeah, my com badge is on the fridge right now. So, but I got
Didn't know
my.
we were going full uniform here. Although
I
okay.
don't own anything Trek. I really don't. I
Tyson,
don't own anything Trek. I really don't. No, I genuinely don't own anything Trek. So I do need to get myself a com badge at the very least for the show. Because
Well,
I can't
Travis and
seem
I
to
can
wear a
talk to
com
each
badge.
other now. We can.
Yeah, I could just, just
Yeah,
and
you can whisper
oh,
sweet things to each other behind the cameras. We know why you've got your com badges. Secret communications,
Hold
getting
on.
with each other as
Strasburg or
usual.
McMurray, are you there?
I'm here, Tyson.
Oh my goodness. I don't want to open the package, but over here I've got the chirping communicator right there. It
Oh,
even
yeah,
it even makes a
that's
chirp.
my computer kit. I opened it and saying I'm going to use it.
No, that's just wrong. That's
but
just wrong.
but
You
yeah,
make me
some.
feel like a bad co-host, guys.
Was that Katie?
You're all making me feel like a bad co-host with your com badges and your phasers and your Trek memorabilia.
What did I do with my phaser?
oh, I have all kinds of technical journals, manuals. I have the entire blueprint of the Enterprise B somewhere. I can't lay my hands on. I even got the somewhere the TV guys of the last Deep Space Nine. I got almost all TV guys that I can lay my hand on from Voyager and Deep Space Nine. So yeah, I got a lot of memorabilia.
Right on.
You see, this is why you know so much. You've got all the information there, and I bet I can still picture you in a room, Travis, that is just plastered across the walls, across the floors, even across the windows with just information on Trek. You've got the rules of acquisition going around the room, and then you've got like all the starships in order with all their specifications. I can just picture you in that room.
Oh, the days of being a nerd.
Yeah, you lot out nerd me, but I really don't care.
Tyson
Yeah.
actually got the setup because he's got three monitors now,
Oh
and
yeah.
all of them
Yeah.
not touchscreen because he'd be like, the L car be like just touching the screens just like they do.
Turn it around. So there's one monitor, you guys, there's another monitor. So yeah,
And that's
this
just any
has
monitor.
this
It's the bendy
that's,
monitors.
oh yeah, it's the curve monitor. So this is the Wikipedia body and soul, the plot, the production, so I have some fast facts here ready to go, and you guys, and then my other screen if I need to put other information. So I'm set up. Well, now I can't fix the fucking camera.
He's got his
It's
engineering
all
I
space.
really
good.
do like your new setup though, Tyson. It really does look lovely on your desk.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
the yeah, it's Well, it's so ergonomic too because I feel like I'm in a cockpit. It's wrapped around me. This camera doesn't do it justice turning it around. Like to sit here, I feel like I'm in a cockpit. I've got a screen from here to here and all the way around.
It looks like a
Just a
simulation.
question. Sorry, Travis, just really quickly. Are they actual PC monitors or are they television screens?
No, these are PC monitor, and I want to say they're 1440 instead of 1080. So instead of 1080, they're 1440. So slightly higher resolution. They're 27 inches. They're curved. My dad has 32-inch, three 32-inch curved screens. That takes up half his room. But this is more than enough for me. I still have my phaser, tricorder, and communicator from when I was 4.
Right
Wow.
on, James. Yeah,
Oh, that's nice.
well, welcome to the chat. We're going to start talking about the episode because Phil won't be able to join us
Yes.
this evening because he's got some friends coming in from out of town he hasn't seen in years. So I was like, you do you, have
Yeah.
fun.
How rude.
Yeah, but Tyson, I'm
I
pretty
hope
sure
he has a good
his
time.
time is limited. So
Yes, in fact, San Diego Ham Forum tonight, as always, and sometimes I'm net control, sometimes I'm just a participant. Today I was supposed to be just a participant, and Adam, who's net control this week, texted us and said, "Hey, I'm not going to be there. Can one of you cover?" So I'm covering. I'm going to be net control tonight. Yay, ham radio!
yeah, one
I
of
wish
these
this thing
days,
got ham frequencies.
one of these days I might get into it. But there, even if I was living on Bajor, there's not enough hour in the days for all the stuff I need to do.
For those who don't know, Dave Prime, his brother is a ham radio operator. So really cool.
Level 3.
Yeah, he's an extra class, same as I, which is the
Yeah.
highest level you can get in ham radio, the highest license.
Yeah, and he got some. I'll have to send it to you off channel one of these days, Tyson. He got some fancy new stuff that he has just been geeking
Yeah,
out over.
I said, the highest license. I don't think the license is high. I think I'm high.
We're just
One of us is high. I'm
we're
not
just
sure.
That
buzzed.
is right. You are
But
Tyson.
but no, tomorrow 10 months sober.
Congratulations,
I'll be
darling.
this is my 9 month chip. I'll be getting my 10-month chip tomorrow, and see, I'm working on putting a display of all my chips on my corkboard behind me. So
I
God,
am
you get
so
enough of those,
fucking
you can go
proud
to
of you right
Vegas.
now.
what's that, Katie?
I am so fucking proud of you right now. I am so emotional. I could cry with pride. You are an inspiration. You really are, because you just went in. You just went into your sobriety journey like a bull in a china shop, and you did not look back. And
Well, I wasn't given much of a choice at the time, but I mean, I did just blow right through it. So
all right, you've had the odd struggles. You were bound to, but you have not picked up a bottle. You have not touched a drop since you started your journey, and it. The fact that you've not had like one blip is a testament to your strength, and I draw from your strength. I really do, because you are an inspiration to so many, and I cannot express enough how absolutely proud I am of you, darling.
thank you, and thanks, James, too. Yes, it's been a crazy wild journey. The same that where I'm living right now. If I wasn't sober, I wouldn't be here right now. So, anyways, on to the show. Tyson, you got the floor. What were some of your opening thoughts to like key
But
moments that you liked from the episode?
oh my goodness! So just to quickly cover the fast facts again. This is where the Doctor and Kim and Seven of Nine are caught in a shuttle. They're boarded by is it Lacarian? Is that the name of the
McGarren's,
race?
yeah.
Lacarians, who have a law against holographic entities. They're banned, they're outlawed, and so the Doctor is hidden in Seven of Nine's cortical node in her in her own
Implants.
implants, right? So the doctor takes control, suppresses, I suppose, Seven of Nine's consciousness. She's still there and aware of it, but the doctor has control over the conscious body and decisions and so forth.
Yeah, the
And
dominant personality.
the dominant personality, right? And of course, the doctor has never truly experienced sensation, not in a human way, and so he gets an opportunity to experience food and drink and uh, physical contact and things of that nature. One of my favorite, I think, is when he synthesizes a cheesecake. How do I know it's not poison? She goes, "Oh, it's just cheese." She takes a bite and she goes, "Oh, I had no idea."
Sorry, I just have to say this. Jerry Ryan in this episode playing the doctor, possessing her, testament to her acting skills, because she really
yes.
did embody the personality of the doctor.
You felt like she was Robert Picardo. Like it was perfect.
Yes.
And then she gets another one, and rather than giving him the new cheesecake, she gives him the one she's already eaten.
That'd be me.
But
That'd be me.
but no,
So
but
she could eat the new cheesecake. It was hilarious. It was
yeah, but
hilarious.
the probably the line of the episode is when she downloaded him into the mobile emitter. She's like, "You became sexually aroused in my body," and the doctor's like,
Yeah, there was a lot of funny moments in this episode. I mean, for me, one of the funniest moments is when I can't remember his name, the captain of the Google ship.
Rannick.
Rannick.
Yeah, what you said. I still can't put his name on in words. I'm sorry, I'm struggling to brain and form words today, people. Just ignore that part of me. But no, when he kisses Seven of Nine
Mm-hmm.
on the bridge, the look on her face, it's almost like the image of the doctor just like superimposed over her face in that moment, because the look on her face, she really did embody Robert Picardo in that moment. And like, she pushed him away and he just goes flying across the room into the console. And now that I had to laugh at. Not the circumstances of, he made a move on her, but just like the doctor's reaction to it, it was golden. And then the way that he returned back, well, Seven, Doctor, whatever, it's very confusing right now. When they returned to sick bay and was just ranting and raving, and it was so funny.
Oh yeah,
It really was.
Yeah, I had a whole paragraph on that. Yeah, saying because I mean, Jalen was trying to set Seven up with her brother when she's like, "You what?" And then finds out that she's got feelings for Rannick and then feelings for Jalen. Just like, yeah, it's just comedy gold in that scene there.
I love
Yeah.
the at the end of the show where, would your brother still be interested? Oh well, I don't think he's your type.
Yeah, because I'm a hologram.
And I'm a
Yeah,
male. It was two. You could take it either way. I think they left it at that.
Hey, Paige.
But yeah, this episode, you see, one thing in this episode that kind of, I remember when I first watched it, like many moons ago, giving away my age now, but is Janeway's reaction on the bridge. I mean, the way she handled that situation, money. It's nice to have somebody else here from England for a change. But the way that Janeway reacted, it was very abrupt for her, and it's like, Jesus, woman, have you had a really bad day? I could just imagine, because of her reaction, I could just imagine that it had been one thing after another on the ship that day, and she just like her captainness had just like ran out for the day, and she was just like, basically, she may as well have just said, fuck off or I'll blow your ship up. That's what she may as well have said to the guy on the other end of the comms, because she was just so abrupt, and I think it was one of the very few times she was that abrupt with someone, and it really was one of those moments. What kind of day has Janeway had for her not even to discuss any form of negotiation, just going straight to the point? Escort us or we destroy your ship. That's very not like Janeway. So I imagine that, I really do imagine that she'd had a really bad day.
Yeah.
Or she had one of her famous headaches. Maybe she'd not had enough anti-homicide juice, because coffee is life, and coffee is life.
But yeah, James brought up a good point. It is nice to see that the actors get to do some comedy yet be serious the same way.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm just inviting any Tom, Dick, or Harry to technically trap.
Well, that's what I've been doing. I've been getting
Yeah.
quite a few people talking about more. I'm going to get business cards made eventually. I want to do a two-side, one for my show, then one for Dangerous Thoughts.
Well, I don't even know that it's going to be a show anymore. It sounds like it's going to be a channel, but more on that later. I probably shouldn't be saying things on a recorded episode.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Yeah, well, we'll just leave it as a surprise for people, Tyson.
Looks like I don't know how to spell how. Well,
who are you?
Yeah, I'm testing out my Australian accent. More Australian accent.
Who are you? I actually thought that said ahoy. I completely read that wrong. I'm just like, have you joined Cassie with the pirating? Ahoy,
Foster's, it's Australian for beer. Right, mate? I'm just going to use the Australian accent from here on out.
That's Foster's, I thought.
Yeah, Foster's, that's Australian.
I'm going to use this accent so bad that...
yeah, it really is bad, Val, and it's almost as bad as you doing a British accent.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Aiden to come, ping me and say, what the fuck was
even,
that?
Oh, I wasn't even thinking of him. I was thinking of my friend Ben, who's
over
in
Aiden
Maine now.
Still talks to me on the X. What the fuck? That wasn't Australian. That wasn't Australian, mate. What were you speaking there? All right,
Yeah,
I give it up.
Try your British accent again, love, or I may have to really tell you off.
Well, no, I was going to do Irish, and I thought I better not do that. I won't do it.
No, don't. No, please don't. Anyway, thanks for the episode, people. No funny accents in this.
Oh, look at that! No, he's playing with this wee dandy Dublin. God, I can't stop. I just gotta. Oh.
Well, we got this off the rails for a while.
In before he leaves.
But yeah, Tuvok's Tarkalian flu, which Janeway totally picked up on, which I thought was quite hilarious.
Yeah, it was like, he used the same line about, being out because of the same sickness 7 years apart.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what we learned too about that? The Vulcan male libido increases in their age.
Oh yeah.
I was like, wow. So, it gets more more intense as the Vulcans, male get older.
Yay for Vulcan females. Or gay Vulcan men.
Don't know if Vulcan even have a word for gay.
What was that?
What was that, Travis?
I said, I do not know if Vulcans even have a word like gay in their
That's something worth researching. Yeah.
Hump hard and
Yeah, I'm
prostate.
definitely.
Oh my god!
Oh,
I don't- oh my
thank you,
goodness!
Jake from State Farm.
I know. Somebody has
Yeah,
got
but,
to.
that's nothing special because Paige's family is from London, so that's it's no surprise that Paige can do a London accent.
Oh, I better quit the UK accents then. All of them. Just never know who you're
Yes,
gonna piss
please
off.
do, because I would never make your ears bleed with my American accent. So
There's one thing I wanted to say before Tyson goes and stuff, and he mentioned when they 7 to 9 um, replicated a cheesecake, and when he pointed to the replicator, he saw this little small section in you know part of the Delta Flyer, and he said that's just a standard food replicator. And replicate. We've seen different types of replicators and stuff, how big and small they are. But you start thinking about this. There's food replicators, and then there's something they call engineering replicators, and then there's industrial. I guess they got industrial size replicators because I remember hearing about that, and I was just thinking, wow, so replicators have become very, by this time, replicators are, as a tool like a phone for us. And just seeing that standard replicator for a food replicator was pretty interesting. You know, I just started
I
thinking about,
I don't know if they are that different though, because remember counterpoint when in that episode Janeway has what's his name? I forget the guy's name, but has his replicator taken offline, and he says, "Because I could replicate a weapon." And she goes, "You understand?" And he goes, "Better than anyone." So I would assume it could replicate a food replicator could replicate a weapon, and that's why Janeway had to take his replicator offline. Different episode. It
Hmm.
was the episode.
I
I
know,
want to say it was Counterpoint was the name of the episode. It was the interplexing, and they were trying to get.
I think
Uh, sorry, what was that, Katie?
so, no, I was just going to say I think it's all to do because I think that a replicator is a replicator and it does have the ability to replicate anything, but I think it depends on the basically like the permissions on each individual one and the settings on it and what you're allowed. So like if you've got like a food replicator in your quarters, maybe depending on your rank would depend on what things other than food and clothing and like personal necessities you would be able to create. I mean, maybe just like a standard crewman wouldn't be able to replicate anything that could possibly be used as a weapon. But whereas like a security officer who is quite a high rank like Tuvok, he would probably have the like permissions on his personal replicator to be able to manufacture a weapon in case one is needed and he didn't have one to hand. And I think that it also I think that they have them set for voice recognition as well. Because a lot of things go by vocal recognition in Star Trek on the ships.
do you guys remember a Deep Space Nine episode called Field of Fire?
Hmm.
Okay, it was with Esri trying to help track down a killer that was killing people at random on Deep Space Nine.
Which, by the way, that is an episode that's on the list that we will be talking about when there's no new episodes to
No
talk
new.
about. So don't
Okay.
know when we'll be
Well, I was
discussing
just gonna
Field of
say
Fire.
the replicator they specify because of the type of weapon that was used. Um, Cisco asked about, have they ever heard of the TR-116 rifle? And apparently, they did explain in a way that all Starfleet officers have access to that replication pattern of that particular weapon. None has used it, but they have access to it. So, you know, that's one thing that, if, anybody from just a low level instant to, the head of Starfleet can have access to that replication pattern. That gives you an understanding that, they don't take those kind of security measures about like, who should have access to certain types of dangerous weapons, even if they replicate the replicating pattern.
Sorry,
Indeed,
could you just
but
repeat that last bit, Travis? Because you cut out for me a little bit.
Oh, I was just saying that the low level Starfleet officers like an ensign versus all the way to the head of the Starfleet like the CNC will have access to such weapons like the TR-116 rifle when it comes to replication. When they're in their patterns, it becomes one of those things where I guess they don't view certain level of seniority when it comes to them, creating, replicating weapons. It's like, oh my goodness, I need to replicate a phaser real quick and stuff. But I mean, that's just one thing. It's like, every Starfleet officer, has access to replicate phaser, or something that, could be used as a phaser and stuff.
I think it depends on the circumstances as well. I mean, I think that if a red alert was called, and the ship was being boarded, I think that would automatically, release any lockouts that have been put on. But it is very interesting. I mean, it's not surprising that what's the alien race called in Body and Soul?
Kyrians.
Look here.
Yeah, it's
Kyrian.
surprising that they are quite paranoid with the trouble that they've had with photonics.
Yeah.
And as well with all the weaponry on the Delta Flyer as well. I mean that shuttlecraft, it has been through it, and with all the technology on it, for a shuttlecraft, it is armed to the teeth.
Yes, it
And
is.
it I think that's one of the reasons. That's another reason why they were arrested as well. Not just the fact that they were like harboring a photonic, but because of the equipment on board that they immediately noticed, and so that would have like hitched up their paranoia a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, just thinking about it, I'm pulling up the screen right now. See, 'cause I think. Well, let's see. Let me see.
But
See if I
one thing
can.
that I found nice in this episode as well, because I know this is just like a me thing, but it's actually nice to see Seven of Nine use their assimilation tubules, because it's very rare that you see her use it. I mean, I think the last time you actually saw her use them was in the double episode Dark Frontier, to my knowledge anyway. I could be wrong.
Never thought of
But yeah, she doesn't really use them, and it was actually quite nice. And now I don't know if this is just me, still Trek related, but in Voyager, Seven of Nine's implants, the exoskeleton on her left hand, and obviously her eyepiece, and then I call it the spider implant near her ear. They look more real in Voyager. Bearing in mind, this was like late 90s, very early 90s. They look more real in Voyager than they do in Picard. Especially the exoskeleton on her hand.
Well,
in Picard, it looks really cheap. Whereas in Voyager, it actually looks like a part of her.
You know, speaking about that too, there was a lot of like little things that people like ourselves would look at and see, like when Rolaren came aboard, the ridges on her nose. You're like, wait,
not as
yeah, those didn't look that convincing. And then to episode 1 of Picard in season 1, when they had them in their, TNG uniform, Spider's hairpiece and stuff, his makeup, it's like,
well, the makeup was better than what it was originally, because when they started leaking photos of it, just like with Sonic the Hedgehog, the CGI for they originally had for him, people just flipped out. Because it was that. I mean, they could go wrong, like they did with some of Picard, but it wasn't like really wrong, like Sonic wrong. But no, I was talking about the Delta Flyer when we saw the shuttle in their shuttle bay. It's a stock image of the original Delta Flyer, because this is season 7. They rebuilt the Delta Flyer. It was the Delta Flyer 2.
Yep. It was
You're not coming
after
through,
what, Media
Katie.
Matrix.
You're not muted, Katie, but you're not coming through.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
I was just replying to some messages in the live chat. But no, could you just repeat that last little bit for me, please?
Well, no, when they showed they showed shots of the Delta Flyer in their shuttle bay. It says Delta Flyer on the hull, and not Delta Flyer 2, because this is like the second iteration of the Delta Flyer from the series, because the original Flyer was blown up in the end of season 6.
Matrix 0. Yeah. And then they rebuilt it. In what was it? Drive?
Can't hear you, Katie.
What was that? Was that the double episode where? Yeah, because that was the double episode where Janeway, B'Elanna, and Tuvok got assimilated, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the season 6 finale, Unimatrix 0.
Yes. Sorry, no, I've caught up. But yeah, I never noticed that, actually. I didn't. But yeah, the Delta Flyer really has been through it. I mean, I love the Delta Flyer. It is literally like my favorite shuttlecraft, and I love how Tom designed it. I really do. It is a beautiful piece of art.
And just to remind us, as I did kind of mention it before, I mean, those that are in the chat, the chat's on fire tonight, so I'm trying to keep up with it. I'm thinking I'm gonna let Katie take over that, so I'm not falling too.
Yes, that's why I keep like zoning out, because I'm trying to keep up with the live chat and answer any questions, and then I'm all over the place. So just excuse me.
Yeah, but yeah, that'll be your thing for the rest of the night. But those that are in the chat, you can join us live in the video as well. As you can see, Tyson's got his camera turned off. You don't have to have your camera on to talk to us live. So just the link in the YouTube description below, you just give that a click. I mean, I haven't looked to see if I know Legacy Zach's got simulcasting on his YouTube as well. But if you don't see the link there, if you pop over to Dave Prime 1701, there'll be the link down there for you to click and join us as well. 'Cause I can
Oh
put
yeah,
it
we
on
always
the
welcome new
I can put it
voices.
on the ticker below, but the hyperlink won't work. So it just either just pop over to my YouTube channel. You can like and subscribe so you'll be up to date on all the stuff that we got going on there. So I didn't mean to cut you off there, Katie.
Oh no, I mean, the topic of conversation in the live chat is very interesting. I actually think that at some point we need to do an episode on the various different alien races in Trek, for
Hmm.
especially for any newcomers, because Paige, for one, is a very big newcomer to Trek. She doesn't know hardly anything about Trek. But for those who are new to the world of Trek, I do think I mean, especially if Travis could be on the show as well, because, Rain Man of Trek. But, um, don't you even look at me with that tone of voice, darling, because you know it's true. But I do think it'd be very interesting to do an episode, not on any specific Star Trek episode, but specifically on the different alien races, the nuances, their cultures, and even if we had to do it as like a double episode or like a long episode, if possible. I mean, it might have to roll over into two, but I do think it would be a good idea to do an episode or two specifically for the different alien races and like really delve into their culture.
Hmm. Let's say, well, it's probably a fascinating idea. We can roll conversations from highlighted episodes like of the Romulans, for example. The Defector is a great episode from Next Generation. In the Pale Moonlight, that's a well, it's not a Romulan central episode, but I mean, it predominantly involves the Romulans convincing them to join the Dominion War. Um, yeah, the Ferengi. We got a Ferengi episode coming up in 2 weeks from Enterprise Acquisition.
You know something?
Hmm.
The Borg designate the Ferengi as species 180.
Yeah, so
That's
that
a
means
very that's a
like
Rayman.
young
100.
species. That's a very low species. You think for them being an Alpha Quadrant species, that's a pretty low number. And then humans are designated as 5618, and you'd be like, what's going on?
Yeah,
How come Ferengis is more higher than, or well, lower than humans?
yeah, that is a good question. It says I didn't even pick up on that.
Oh, I
Well, the
picked up on
Ferengi were out in the cosmos before humanity, so that'll probably be why
Hmm.
they probably the Borg came across them. I mean, the Borg Queen specified in Dark Frontier that she originated from species 125. I mean, we don't know the actual name of that species, only their designation, but obviously they categorize species in order of basically that they give their designations in order of like what when they encountered them. So obviously the Borg Queen came from the 125th species they came across.
that was one Borg queen, not all of them. They had
Oh yeah,
different.
that one specific Borg Queen in Dark Frontier. I was just using that as an example. But yeah, I completely agree with James. That's what makes Trek so much fun compared to other franchises. They develop a ton of backstory and lore for races and cultures.
Modern
Modernist
Lord of the
Lord of the
Rings.
Rings.
Everybody still there?
Yeah, it's still here.
Yeah,
Just trying
yeah.
to process Pagey's comment.
Well, aliens, well, I can answer that. Basically, Gene Roddenberry, he had a vision of what the future would look like for humanity, and he envisaged a kind of sort of utopia. And bearing in mind at the time, it was like the early 60s when he came up with this idea. And he envisioned a future where, now bearing in mind at the time, there was a lot of conflict between loads of countries, Russia, Japan, people of color were not widely accepted. There was so much like oppression, and he had a vision where all of these cultures could come together in peace. And basically, what would happen if they encountered species from other worlds? Because the alien topic has always been a big thing with humanity, seeing strange things in the sky and this, that, and the other. And he wanted to put that on screen. And I mean, I don't like TOS. Everybody knows this, but I have deep respect for it because you watch TOS, first episode, on the bridge, you've got a woman of color in a very high standing position. You have a Russian and a Japanese man, and then and
Chekhov didn't come till season 2, but yeah.
well, yeah, but you get my drift, and and then you've got someone who is half alien, half human. Spock is half Vulcan, half human. So that's also a mixture of cultures, not just from Earth, but from other worlds as well. And yes, there is conflict, but a lot of the time things are peacefully resolved. So yeah, that is basically how Gene Roddenberry came up with this idea of Trek Page.
Good explanation.
So I don't know if any of that made sense. I don't often make sense, but if I did,
it made sense. I couldn't. You probably said it better than I could have. And apologies, I just got a nasty itch in my nostrils today. It's just been driving me nuts. And did Tyson just up and change the logo back there? And of course, he walks away when I notice it.
It kind of changes. I think he's gone to put the cat out or something. Although I'm very unamused that my beloved Callie has not come to see me.
Yeah, see, I was thinking about mentioning the pud.
One thing about this episode is Voyager encountered a species that is not. They wasn't so much of a threat to them. I mean,
they're
Voyager and even the Delta Flyer. We already told that their weapons were far superior. Like Janeway basically said, "Hey, look, I can keep shooting and destroy you." But you know what? I'm a person of good grace. We're traveling through your space. How about we just let you escort us through and stuff? But it was one of the most not low key species they came across since they entered the Delta Quadrant and stuff. But I think, it's one of the few times that Voyager had the upper hand, that they had the upper hand when it comes to, tactical superiority, when it comes to other ships and stuff and everything. And I was like, you know what, I kind of like that, they didn't come off to this species as, look, hey, we may be traveling through your space and you attack us and we're going to keep firing and destroy you. But look, we're just going to, try to like negotiate. Even Harry Kim tried to, negotiate, with them. Of course, he could have, turned the Delta Flyer into, show them his teeth, and that he could open fire and most likely destroy them, but he didn't do that and stuff and everything. And at the end, you could see that, this is one of the species that Voyager came across that ended up most likely could have been a friend. If it wasn't for them being in a kind of war with the photonics in that area, in that region of space and stuff, it seemed like they could be like, a good friend to the Federation,
And
that's just my take.
Quickly to Dave, I did kind of update the logo a little bit. I was going to be fancy and have it spin, but I thought, nah.
Yeah. Oh, that's some of the things that I'm working on with, since I got the got Creative Suite paid for me for a year. I'm gonna be doing.
What's the name of that again? Because I got it too, and now I can't remember what it was. I didn't bookmark it. Now I can't go back to use it.
Use what?
Who was on that call?
No,
when
that
Becca was showing. Yeah, she was showing us that Creative Suite, and it was only $14 a month, and I bought it. Now
Yeah,
I can't go back to it because I can't remember the name of it.
I can't remember what it is. Canva.
Canva, Canva. Okay,
And
so I can go back and
we got some cat guy joining the chat. Hello.
Stickers.
your audio's cutting out there.
Stickers.
I don't know. There's really bad audio connection there.
Yeah, some technical difficulties there.
Sorry about that. No, Callie's in the living room right now, so I'll have to get her at some point. But I have to keep her. In the living room when I work, because it's great. When I'm on a show like this, she hops up and everybody's all, "Oh, that's so cute." But then when you're in a meeting with the executive director, they don't think it's so cute.
Fuck all niggers. Fuck all niggers.
Oh, that's
Fuck.
not
Okay,
appropriate.
Oh,
no, it's not.
Oh my god.
apologies to all our viewers for that.
I feel like that was directed at me. I really do. And that,
I apologize on behalf of the universe to you, Travis. That was extremely disrespectful. That was almost evil. Well, it wasn't almost evil, it was. And yeah,
Yeah,
Wow, you have a heckler. Okay. Wow, a heckler.
yeah.
That's why I said I feel like it was directed at me. I identify sometimes as African American, and because Travis being my husband through transitive properties, I get to have some of that culture. So,
apologies to everyone for that. I'll be making a voodoo doll later. Don't worry.
Oh my! Oh,
yeah.
y'all pulled out the voodoo. Y'all made her pull out voodoo dolls on y'all now.
Honestly, I'm on the verge. I'm on the verge, and after that, well, anybody who knows me will know that I am severely pissed right now. But anyway, I love you all. Love and light,
Well,
blessed be.
His name was some cat guy. That's just another word for pussy, right? I think that's what he was.
Oh,
All right.
too nice a word for him. Tyson, you're too nice, and I love that about you.
Oh, people used to. I grew up openly gay, and I can only imagine Travis not only being gay but African American, and we get hate, and when you grow up with it, you kind of get a thick skin, and like, all right, call me a fag, see if I care. This is the first time I've ever heard it, right?
And that's not the first time
care.
I ever heard that word too. It's like,
Right? Yes.
Come on, find something original. Well,
Right.
I mean, you gotta come up with something creative,
Exactly. If you're gonna insult me, do it with some class.
Exactly. I may give you a high five at that.
Right.
Exactly. Do you know people have shouted "dyke" across the street at me, and I'm like, oh, you know me. I call myself a dyke, it don't bother me. It takes a lot to offend me, but see, I get offended on behalf of other people, and they're like, chill, it's fine. I'm like, no, you don't stand for that. But if it's directed at me, I'm just like, eh.
Well, let's get back to our current, topic at hand. Because at least at least the hate was on photonics and not about somebody's, skin color.
Yeah, see,
I will absorb that on everybody's behalf. I will absorb that on everybody's behalf. Let me be the spigot. I do, and I apologize. It is 5:56, and I was supposed to tune out at 5:45, but I decided to stay an extra 15 minutes because.
Well, thank you, Tyson.
We'll take it. We appreciate.
I love you guys. And I'll do something fancy with this next time. We'll see if I can get that communicator to spin or do something, attractive. All right. Bye, guys.
See you next week. Or
Helen,
sooner
love
or
you
later.
lots.
I say, but yay, our first heckler, first troll. Woohoo! I was looking to see if they, because I've had a couple of new subscribers. They didn't subscribe, so they just randomly popped in. So I'm just, So
Well,
just
you know,
like
it
trying to
shows that
figure
we're
out.
getting good. It shows how good we are, though, if we've got a heckler already. I mean, you know. I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeVille.
There you go. This is the meal.
But yeah, we do. Not really too much. We've been so focused on like the Doctor Seven A plot. We haven't been talking a lot about the B plot
Yes.
with Tuvok's Ponfar.
Mm-hmm.
Because it kind of
Mm-hmm.
scraped a little bit briefly, but we just kind of like went right back to the Doctor and Seven.
And you know, it points this out in this episode. It's like he went through this, must have been right before he went on his secret mission to
Undercover mission.
undercover mission to infiltrate Chakotay's Maquis,
So
cell. And it was like, okay, so it was interesting to know that when Janeway said the last time you went through this, it was like 7 years ago, and she even knew. It's like, I'm not,
yeah.
I'm
Last time
not a
you
fool.
had Tarkalian flu was about 7 years.
And
But
Yeah, she went right in there and said it, didn't she? She may as well have just announced to the entire bridge that it was going through the Ponfar.
What about Neil showing up with soup?
yes, Neelix
Oh, that
is
was
the
so
hero of this
strange.
episode. And he's like, smell this. It's like, I don't smell anything. That's right, because there's no spice,
Yeah.
no herbs, absolutely tasteless. It's like, Neelix, you are
Oh,
a god among men.
I adore. I really
And
do adore Neil.
Tuvok was just sitting there, just trying to stay, just trying to keep his composure. He's just like, you could tell he was like, you can't just go away. You could just see he just wanted to just be like, Neelix, just go away. I'm not doing too well, and I suspect Neelix did not know, what was really going on and stuff. But he just thought it was probably just like he caught, virus or something, something. But it was just one of the things where Tuvok was just, you could see the irritation that he was had towards Neelix. At that moment, I was like, yeah, I can see you, Tuvok. You was pretty annoyed with him at that moment. Not that he seen me being annoyed many times, but he was just annoyed, just go away. He just had that go
But
away.
no, I just want to give a shout out to Tom in this episode because he handled the situation really well, even though you could see on his face that it was like, oh my God, he's going through the Ponfar. But he actually handled that really professionally.
Yes, yes, he did.
I
Yeah.
wonder how well known Ponfar is. Coming on
It,
something
a
that.
lot of both, I want to say, because at this point, like the Vulcans, they know Vulcans get a little goofy in the head, especially with that the episode where Vorik,
Yeah,
same
Varg.
actor, different characters, yeah, say
Okay,
went bonkers with Balana. But it's
blood
like, yeah,
fever.
it's common knowledge, but it's also very taboo because like Tuvok said, this is a private matter. Don't want it spread amongst the crew, even though the fucking crew know you're a Vulcan, dude. You're a man.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think everybody, like the majority of people, know about the Ponfar. Learning about Vulcans, they go through it once every 7 years. But within the Vulcan race, it is a very much taboo subject, and it. I remember a conversation the Doctor had with Tuvok when Vorik was going through it, and the Doctor said, "What was it? For such an enlightened race, you have a very primitive attitude towards sex." And that is so true. I mean, don't get me wrong, sex is a private matter for, a lot of people. I mean, not to us, because I mean, we've discussed it live on air on DT, but you know, for a lot of people, even nowadays, it's still a taboo subject. Me, I really don't give a crap. You know, a conversation is a conversation. But yeah, it is very. Yeah, it's more than a taboo subject. It is just not spoken about. It goes beyond
Yeah.
taboo for them.
And we
It's
learned
like,
too. I don't know if you heard, Katie, but we learned in this episode that as Vulcan males get older, their libido increases each time they go through the pump.
yeah, no, the lucky females or the lucky gay Vulcans. You know, it. I mean, I would love to learn more about Vulcans and like the Kolinar and even the Pomfar, because you know, I mean, that'd be brilliant. You know, just to learn the ins and outs of it. You know, I like to do research. You know, I like learning about different cultures as well, even fictional ones. And yeah, it's very interesting to delve deep into the Vulcan psyche. Well, more than I already have done. But no, speaking of the psyche, I actually wanted to just briefly, like, I know we've only got like 25 minutes left, but I did just want to
20,
briefly, yeah, I did just want to briefly mention this because when the doctor, like in this episode, when the doctor takes possession of Seven of Nine, her consciousness is basically pushed into the background, and she basically becomes a passenger in her own body. And Seven, she is very centered. She is very logical, always Vulcan, with her logic, and how calm she always is. But it does beg the question. I mean, don't get me wrong, we all know how human she was, you know, for abusing her body, as she put it. But it makes me wonder how she felt being a passenger in her own body. You know, the psychological effects of it, because it's one thing like, yeah, she didn't save the doctor's life, but suddenly becoming a passenger in your own body, it must be quite a frightening experience. You know, you're still fully aware of what's going on. You know, you can feel your limbs moving, but you have no control at all. It's kind of like a full-on paralysis of everything but your eyes and your brain. And it's hard to imagine how she felt. And you know, it is, especially with what she went through as well. I mean, you know, she ended up drunk. She probably felt sick because of how much food she had in her system, and also food that she wasn't used to eating as well.
Exactly. So I mean, she pretty much called the doctor out on that, which say yay for standing up for yourself. But I mean, also the doctor just, I mean, he's innocent. I mean, looks like he's never actually eaten food before, so he's like, "Oh, this is good. This is good. This is good." He's thinking of
Well, yeah.
himself over Seven, which kind of breaks a level of doctor-patient like relationship. And
Well,
we
yeah, it
gotta,
does break
we
that
got,
level of trust. But on the flip side of that, it was a brand new experience for him. And I think that the reason why he overindulged is because he was overwhelmed. And being overwhelmed like that with new sensations, he basically had a full sensory experience for the first time in his life. And, you know, that I think that if we put ourselves in the doctor's situation, like going over from Seven of Nine situation to the flip side of the doctor, how overwhelmed must he have been? To have a full sensory experience? His sense of touch would have been different. His sense of smell, you know, especially being in Seven's body as well, because as he stated, you know, our senses are heightened. And I agree. This is bloody me.
You know one thing about
But
that he experienced it was what you just said, Katie. When Harry was when he smelled Harry, and it was one of the things where it's like, oh my
yeah.
goodness, you know.
What is that
It,
smell? Are they trying to poison us? And he's like, yeah, it's you.
Well, yeah, but just that one thing would have been overwhelming to the doctor. As funny as it was, that would have been overwhelming to the doctor. Then, like you said, Dave, tasting food for the first time, that'd have been overwhelming. And the doctor, considering he's a hologram, he's a very emotional being. And he's always wanting to experience new things. And like even the sensation of pain when he touched the force field, it was just like ow,
well, let's think
and
about this.
that would have been a new thing.
You think about this, Katie, in real life. I've seen videos of people getting emotional over seeing colors for the first time, or people who didn't have hearing, and they, somehow they, was able to, restore some of the hearing that they could hear. Like, young kids, they never heard their parents or anything, like, or somebody who sight was gone, but yet, the company that I work for, Alcon, we make lenses for people to see that they put in people's eye. You start thinking about like, all of our senses and stuff and everything that, some of us grew up with. Some people don't have it, but yet, some doctors are able to restore partially of it or all the way. And, you start thinking in the same way, it's like they get overwhelmed, like with their, like I've seen people who seen, they were colorblind
Mm.
and they colorblind and they have these certain glasses, and stuff, and they look and all of a sudden they just start getting emotional and stuff and everything. And then I've seen people who like little kids who were deaf, never heard, but then they doctors were able to allow them to hear, and first thing they hear was their parents' voice, and they look just shocked.
Yes,
Yeah,
James.
I was
James hit
actually,
the nail
yeah,
on the head.
I was going to bring this up as well. It was like a child experiencing things for the first time. You literally took the words right out of my mouth, James. And I also want to put Paige's comment back up.
Mm.
Just like humans suppressing emotions, and over time we all learn to mask our emotions. Again, that is so true. Whereas the doctor, he is the complete opposite. In a way, the doctor's like me. He don't hide shit. He will just let something out and not think of the consequences sometimes. He will do something like perfect example. Yes, he was overwhelmed and he was experiencing all this for the first time, but the things he was saying, the things he was doing, it was very impulsive. He is a very impulsive person with his emotions, his
Mhm.
mouth, his actions, and he needs to learn how to hold back more.
Well, we all know what Dr. Zimmerman was like, and
Exactly,
who was the
and
program figure after Zimmerman.
exactly, and I mean, Doctor Zimmerman, he just didn't give a shit, and but he was very abrasive and he was very grumpy and nasty with it sometimes. Whereas I mean, originally the Doctor was very abrupt and but I mean, over time, obviously, he evolved, he added to his program, and he became a very unique individual, and we all love him. But the Doctor is so impulsive in everything he does. Don't get me wrong. When there's an emergency and somebody needs medical attention, he is on it like a car bonnet. He really is. He is on point. He is Doctor. But outside of that, in his personal life, sometimes he just doesn't know when to shut up. And because of how excited he gets, especially when he got his mobile emitter, when he went on that first away mission, was it Macrocasm when he went on his first away mission, um,
Yeah.
and he ended up bringing those microvamps that grew big. You know, yes, yeah.
Macrovirus.
Compare it to when, yeah, compare it to data. I completely agree. Data could not handle emotion. You know, he was overwhelmed by it, and then he blamed himself for Geordie getting taken. You know, he had like a full blown meltdown, and he was like maniacally laughing. He was crying. You know, and he didn't know how to handle it. So the doctor having the full sensory experience for the first time. It's surprising he actually handled it so well, in my opinion, because I think that he did handle it well. And you know, he was under pressure. He was trying not to get them all killed, and you know, initially he was trying to get his mobile emitter, then he was trying to help him get the codes for communication, and he was just going with the flow. And unfortunately, you know, it kind of didn't work for Seven, but I think by the end of it, those two had a very much, especially Seven when it came to the Doctor, I think that she had a much better understanding of him after that. And I think after you know, them inhabiting the same body for a lengthy period of time, they did get to know each other a lot better, and that there was, after a few hiccups, a lot more respect was gained on both sides. And I think that Seven actually did eventually understand why the Doctor overindulged and got carried away. And that meal that they shared at the end, you know, when she said that she would eat the meal and drink the wine, and she would describe the sensations and the tastes and the smells, you know, everything. That was such a beautiful moment between them. And
Oh yeah, like I say, yeah, with the doctor, I mean, he realized that yeah, he kind of screwed up and
Yeah.
say, but I mean, Seven was just like, you know, even though she didn't say it in so many words, I understand. Saying, so here I am, just like I'm going outside of my comfort zone and say I'll do this for you. And
You know, one thing about this episode too, we did not see Belana Torres.
yeah, she was not in this episode at all. Hey, Jerome boy.
Stickers.
Alrighty.
Yeah, I think that's another heckler. It's like 2 in one
it
night.
was the same one. It was the same one.
Yeah.
But anyway,
But hey, people are clicking on the link, so yay!
Obviously doing something right.
Yeah. Think how many? What's the record for hecklers that Manu's had on Dangerous Thoughts in one show?
Oh, I can't even remember. I really can't.
It's been a while.
and things is
But
also
yeah, that is obviously the same person that's come back with a lot of burner accounts.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye out for that dude. But no, all in all, I think this was a really good episode, and it was kind of like a lessons kind of episode, you know,
Yeah.
about like things in moderation. And yes, we all get overwhelmed at times, and we can all get carried away. But when it comes to, you know, when it involves other people, you have got to consider them and just try to like rein it in. And eventually the Doctor did. But, you know, words had to be had before that happened, unfortunately. But you know, we all get a bit out of control sometimes. We are only human. And I think that was one of the messages of this episode, is that, you know, we all make mistakes. We can all overindulge, and we can forget about others along the way when we get overwhelmed. and it's just all a matter of things in moderation and trying to keep centered and aware.
Hmm.
And this episode came on after Inside Man, which was I
Came
believe
after which episode?
Inside Man
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
with Reginald Barkley hologram.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, oh yeah, I remember this, and I do remember, these back to back, these two episodes was around, holograms, but yet, the Voyager, the one, this body and soul was particular with, uh, the doctor, like you're saying, Katie, about like, learning your lesson, like, um,
Mm.
uh, a hologram does not understand what organics, that's what they call them, that's what they call us, what we go through with, taste, touch, smells, our sensors and stuff and everything else. They in the world of Star Trek, they only know deactivation or activation and stuff. They don't understand pain. I can't say they understand pain, but yet, the sense when it comes right down to you know how we humans learn to interact with ourselves and others in things that are, you know, indulgence and stuff. We
Yeah.
learn too much indulgence it will be a bad thing, but there's a moderation for it and everything. Like Seven said, like you instead of eating caviar, you will replicate just a nutritional supplement. She said supplement. She basically said caviar is an indulgent. And you're like, why won't you indulge and stuff? It's like she has that way of Vulcan, like you were saying earlier about the being a Vulcan, and it's like, oh, okay, she doesn't take the advantage of like learning, and we've seen this throughout the entire that Seven was on Voyager, but when we saw Seven in Star Trek Picard, totally different person. Seven and I grew up totally. I mean, heck, the first time she ran into Picard, what kind of drink did she ask? Scotch, brandy,
Yeah.
bourbon, bourbon,
Uh,
bourbon, bourbon.
Also, another big message I got from this episode is very relevant to things that are going on in the world right now, and that is do not stereotype. Because, just because you've had bad experiences or of bad experiences done by a certain set of individuals from a certain group of people, a certain race, a certain culture, that does not instantly make that entire race or culture bad. Just because there are a few bad eggs of a certain race, for example, it does not then mean every single one of that race is bad. And that is what I forgot their names again, the anti-photonic people.
The
the
Lacarans?
McKieran's, yeah.
Yeah,
I gotta keep on
what
looking at
you
my
said.
notepad.
They they had a bad experience, so I mean, we don't know the circumstances of the uprising, the resistance movement. We don't know the full circumstances of that. For all we know, that a lot of the photonics that were about may have been mistreated. We don't know the full circumstances, but that message is very relevant to things that are going on in the world right now. And when you stereotype and condemn an entire group of people because of a few bad eggs, it's that kind of backward thinking that causes so many problems within the shit show that is the human race. You know, and it's very upsetting. It really is. And just, you know, I've had bad experiences with certain groups of people. I do not categorize and stereotype and think, oh, that certain group of people is bad. I'm staying away from them, you know. I mean, I know this may sound a bit extreme, but this is how I drive my point home. If you if you're going to do that, it's the same. It is the same. It is on the same lines of that man is a rapist, therefore all men are. That's a load of bollocks. But that is, you know, that's what people are doing when they are stereotyping and fitting everyone in a group of people as, you know, that they're painting them as evil because of a few bad eggs who just so happen to be a part of that group, you know. And I think that is a really big message from this episode. Do not stereotype. Treat everybody as an individual, not as a whole. And, you know, just be kind to people. And, you know, if you come across a rogue hologram walking down the street, don't think all holograms are evil. Just deal with that one. You know, it just, yeah. So just think before you judge. Do not judge an entire people on the actions of a few.
I think
And that's
that.
my closing thoughts.
What's that?
They are my closing thoughts for
Yeah,
the show tonight.
I think that is a great way of ending the episode because I
Yeah,
don't think we. I think that's an excellent end cap.
absolutely.
So yeah. So next week we're going to talk about the episode Katie accidentally watched a little too early.
Joan!
The Naked Now, where Data gets all giggity with Tasha.
Wow.
Even
All
though
the way back
Tasha
to
admits it never happened.
1987.
What's that?
Yeah, you
What was
had to
that,
bring that
Travis?
up, didn't you?
I said all the way back to 1987. I
Yeah.
remember
Yeah,
that.
I warned I was going to bring
Oh,
that.
you were my birth.
Maybe we'll get Chris to get into this episode because get a proper giggity out of it.
Oh boy.
Although, as Chris has already pointed out, I have already watched this episode, but I will be watching it again before the show next week. You know, and it was my bad. But, you know, you can never watch too much Trek, in my opinion.
No.
So, and
No,
I
but
love Data as well, and I love Data in this episode.
even though it was
So,
a modeled rehash of an original series episode of the Naked
Yes.
Now or the
Yes, I
Naked
remember that
Time.
episode. Naked
Yeah.
Time.
well, yeah, because they do reference it in the episode, but still, this was done way better.
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of corny. But of course,
Anything's better than
they mentioned the episode again in Relics when Scotty was reminiscing, just like just spiraling out of control toward the planet Psi 2000. It's like that's the Naked Time.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the Naked Time.
And yes. Well, glad you enjoyed yourself, Paigey. And I was actually talking about my podcast. I occasionally talk about my podcast with people in my car, giving them rides with Lyft and whatnot. And one of my passengers, Mason, whether he's watching this or not, if you are awesome, dude, Sam, and I promise I'd give him a proper credit for when we're just kind of like ending the ride and stuff. And I think this might be the new saying for the end of every episode. May Spock be with you.
Toodles.
See you next week, everybody.
Take it.